Thank you for joining us today. We are very fortunate to have Natalia Abarca, who is the project specialist for language services for the Orange County Department of Education. And in this role, she spearheads Interpreting and Translation Conference for Educational Interpreters and is also part of the national effort to standardize best practices for educational interpreters and translators. Thank you for joining us, Natalia.
Thank you so much. It is an honor for me to be with you today.
Thank you. So looking at how educational interpreters have fared so far into COVID, what do you think are the lessons learned, and what do you suggest other organizations put in place to be better prepared for language access?
So after March 15, I can say our life changed from day to night in the office at Orange County Department of Education. We are so used to provide language access to students and families on a daily basis and in person. So all of a sudden, COVID hit. So we receive an email saying that schools are closed as of Friday and that on Monday we have to start working remotely. So the first thing we did is, trying to contact all our stakeholders, our users, our interpreters, letting them know that all the assignments were canceled or postponed for a virtual format. Uh, the second thing that we did was calling all the agencies and the language services providers that we work with, asking them for advice and guidance on how will moving forward, we were going to provide online interpretations and virtual interpretation, remote interpretation, and over the phone interpretation. So something that I can say that after COVID, the biggest lesson that we learned is that language access is one of the most important and key subjects for student success. So we were able to work as a team together, as a team of interpreters, translators, and educators, and we started providing supports to everybody. Everybody will call us, and we will just work around the clock, 24 hours, 7. So I really didn't feel like I was isolated because we start working at a very high pace. The lessons learned is that technology is our friend, and whoever's not with technology, well, then we have to a lot of things to learn. Something else that we learn is that we are not alone. We are together. We are a team. We work with interpreters from all over Orange County, San Diego County, Riverside County, Los Angeles County, and why not all of the state? So I receive a lot of support from our vendors and from our mentors and our customers. And immediately in a couple of weeks, we start providing trainings online for free. So we start sharing best practices. I manage a multilingual consortium where I have bilingual staff coming from different school districts, and they will share. Natalia, how are you using the Zoom interpreting feature? Have you used Google Meets? How are you doing board meetings? So we brought together a group of experts, we share the challenges and the successes that we had so others will not fall into the same situations. So we host a couple of virtual meetings with around 300 attendees, each one of them, sharing, what's next, how can you work remotely, how the virtual platforms are aligned and what type of equipment we need and what type of uh, systems we need, what type of technology. So not everybody is on the same page, and we cannot blame that others are not on the same pace that we are. For example, if a parent was going to be using an equipment, we start being creative. So if they do not know how to log into Zoom, we will use our cell phones. We will use WhatsApp. We will use Facebook. We will use a conference line. But the reason behind it was helping each other. So one of the lessons that I learned is that this brought us together, and now I feel that we are stronger. We know we can do it. It was challenging, scary, but I feel that we had a lot of support from the community and the stakeholders at all. So lessons learned, always be together, have a great network, talk, ask for help if it is needed. And providers like you and like many others have been there for us to help us in schools and providing services for our students.
So among the different solutions that you found during this time, what do you feel are the solutions that are going to stay with us long term? And some there, what do you think is going to change for the future?
Well, something that I think is going to change is everything is still uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen, and things are changing rapidly. So maybe everything will go back to normal in a month, maybe in 2 months, maybe in 6 months. We don't know. So something that I do think is going to change is that we're going to start using more virtual platforms on a daily basis. We're going to start providing more remote simultaneous interpretation on a daily basis. So something that I learned is that we need to be more prepared for what's coming. And we need to educate our leaders and the necessity of using a great platform on using trained staff versus untrained staff. Also, something that I'm seeing that is going to happen is that we do not have systems in place. We do not have a code of ethics for school interpreters. We do not have a certification for school interpreters. So we rely a lot on best practices for medical interpreters, for legal interpreters. So that's why we are part of this national work group that is called Interpreters and Translators in Education. And we want to develop some guidelines and code of ethics for all school interpreters in order for us to professionalize ourselves, because this is not something that because I speak another language I can provide interpretation. You need to assess yourself. You need to know when you have to be accurate, when it's a transparent situation. I can say from firsthand that this experience with COVID, on my first interpretation for a larger parent meeting, I was placed on a break room session with other parents that were speaking Spanish, but we needed them to talk. So all of a sudden, I had to leave my interpreting hat to become a Spanish facilitator to manage the conversation. And we know that that goes against our code of ethic, because the interpreter doesn't add, do not delete, doesn't omit. You are the voice, you're the bridge. But in those situations, we need to be flexible. So I need to forget about my interpreting hat, and I was acting as a bilingual staff. So I believe that moving forward, there's a lot of work to do. We have to train our staff and we have to train our administrators on what are best practices that work for everybody.
Thank you. And how do you feel the situation with moving everything remote with the pandemic did affect language accesses this time? Because we don't just have the disparity of language and you know, we have people who are limited English proficiency, deaf of hard of hearing, but we also have disparity in access to technology. And with having not just both the kids and the parents trying to access schools, trying to access education online remotely, do you feel that there was an effect, an additional possible challenge from that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I believe that the achievement gap is going to be bigger, and that we as educators need to be more aware on the processes and supports we're going to be providing for parents, because the language barrier is a very important piece. But if you add to that technology, a challenge with Wi-Fi, with connection, and if you add to that loss of jobs, of opportunities, and if you add to that loss of academic instruction on a daily basis, is going to be overwhelming. So we as educators and as a bilingual staff, as interpreters and translators and staff working for our schools and our students, we need to ensure that the language is going to be deliver in a positive way and in an accurate way. So I do believe that we are going to be challenged, but at the same time, this is the best opportunity for us to start using more technology. A lot of families and a lot of people, we like the personal connection, you know, a look, the feeling, the way the room, you're sensing a cultural misunderstanding. And that is very hard to detect when we're working remotely. However, at the same time, we are trying to do our best to come up with signs on how to stop, or this will be my sign, or let's call each other on the phone if you're not listening to me. We are being creative, but I do believe that there's a lot of work for us to do and support our students, especially because we have newcomer families in Orange County, California. We have 62 languages are represented, and we have more than 35 bilingual schools, I believe, and we have bilingual schools in Spanish and Mandarin and in Vietnamese. So it's a lot of work that we have ahead, but it's exciting, the challenge, and I feel that there's a lot of opportunity for us to learn.
And what are the next steps for those who, obviously it's very important, the professionalization of educational interpreters. So what are the next steps that are happening with the conference and with the work group, that if you want others to possibly invite to join in the effort, how do they find out more about it?
Yes, so this year we're going to be hosting the fourth annual Interpreters and Translators Conference for Educational Interpreters. Last year we had 350 people, so this year we are hoping to have more, because if we're going to do it virtually, we can have more access. We are going to have Eduardo Melgares as our keynote speaker, and we have a lineup of 15 amazing conference interpreters and legal interpreters and medical interpreters that are going to be sharing their best practices with us. So it's September 25 and 26. You can learn more about logging into our website, Orange County Department of Education, ocd.us. It's going to be a 2-day conference. Also, in our conference, we are going to be hosting our second Interpreters and Translators and Educational Work Group meeting. The first year was hosted at Orange County Department of Ed conference, and it was the first in-person meeting with more than 100 people. So this year, we're also hoping for more people to join the efforts. We need you. We need educators. We need interpreters. We need medical interpreters. We need legal interpreters. We need all the people that are providing language access to help us develop job descriptions, ethics, best practices, bylaws, to help us build the professionalization for educational interpreters, because that's the next thing that we are really trying to accomplish.
Well, that's wonderful. And we will make sure to post the link on our podcast, to have people also, if they want to find more information, to be able to look at that and hopefully join the conference. And if you were to if you were to talk to educational interpreters, what are the few key things or the top key things you would like to share as the most important one to be prepared in the reality of working remotely today?
Well, something that I would like to recommend them is first learn. Sign up to every single webinar that you see out there on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on social media, because the more prepared we are, the better is going to be our job. Ask for help. Try to find a mentor, somebody that you can work alongside, and they can teach you how to log into Zoom, how to do the Google Meet, how to find, the best platforms. Also, try to be trained, because a difference is when you have a bilingual staff and when you have a trained interpreter that has been gone to some type of certification. You can do a 40-hour of a community interpreter training. You can do an hour of a medical interpreter training. You can have a master's degree. You can be a linguist. So the more prepared we are and the better we learn, the better is going to be our job in the future. You're not alone. We are all this together. We learn as it goes. I did not know that Zoom had an interpreting channel. So I was lucky enough that, we had a group of teams that they share with us, and we help each other. So learn. The best thing that I can tell them, learn more technology. Technology is your friend. There's a lot of things that we can do. Have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Always be prepared. Have a colleague with you. Don't take on an assignment that you feel that you're not going to be able to do it. Oh, ask for help. Like if you have a bigger meeting, always 2 or 3 interpreters is good, in case you're choking, you forget something, you cannot present the PowerPoint, you cannot share your screen, or you get frozen, or maybe you are running out of battery. So it is good to work on teams. And we also have a document that is called Best Practices for Remote Interpreting, that the Interpreters and Translators and Education Work Group released it recently, right after the pandemic. And I'm more than happy to share it with you and with all the people that are interested.
That would be wonderful. And if the document is available online, we would love to share the link again with those who are listening. Thank you so much. And we want to thank you for your time and for joining us today and for sharing what you do.
Thank you. And I hope to see all of you virtually on September 25 and 26 at our conference.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.